You are standing in an elevator lobby or waiting in line for a morning coffee. You have exactly 30 seconds before it's your turn. It is a fleeting, harmless gap of time, yet your hand instinctively reaches into your pocket. You pull out your phone. Your thumb hits the button. The screen lights up. You swipe through a clean lock screen. No new notifications. You turn the screen off. You slide it back into your pocket. 3 seconds later, before the elevator doors even open, your hand repeats the exact same cycle. You unlock it, swipe left, swipe right aimlessly, and lock it again. You don't even know what you're looking for. Or, consider the moment you are sitting across from a close friend on a quiet evening. They are pouring their heart out, telling you something deeply meaningful. You genuinely care about them. You have no intention of being rude, but an invisible urge suddenly jerks your nervous system. Your eyes dart toward the glass table where your phone lies face down. You flip it over. You check it. Still, nothing there. A wave of slight confusion ripples through your chest. You offer a polite social smile to hide your unease. You blame yourself for being inconsiderate. Yet 10 minutes later, you find yourself doing it all over again. To anyone watching, they say you're addicted to technology. They call you lazy, unfocused, or suffering from the FOMO of the digital age. You make promises to yourself to detox from the screen, but every attempt fails. The machine always wins, because this repetitive, unconscious behavior isn't just a superficial habit born of poor willpower, it is a clinical symptom. It is the result of a biological architecture being manipulated at the deepest level. But the real burden doesn't lie in the time you've wasted. It lies in this cruel, undeniable truth. Every time you touch that screen for no reason, your brain is desperately trying to flee from an existential vacuum that it no longer has the strength to face. In the era of Silicon Valley, we are told a beautiful story about connection. They claim these smartphones were designed to bring humanity closer, to bridge geographical divides and optimize your life. We are led to believe that holding a phone in our palm is the hallmark of a modern, information-savvy human being. But this is a massive cognitive trap. When you constantly check your device without a concrete purpose, you convince yourself that you are actively seeking entertainment or staying on top of work. Yet, the true weight doesn't rest on the notifications popping up on your screen, but on this cruel paradox. The more you check your phone, the more impoverished and vulnerable your inner world becomes to the weight of solitude. Why does such a tiny action, taking less than 2 seconds, have the power to reconstruct your entire capacity for mental endurance? Because your brain is entering into a high-stakes, fraudulent transaction with that flat screen. It turns the phone into an intermediary object to avoid emptiness. Society looks at a crowd of silent people, all heads bowed toward their screens, and calls it the new normal. But through the lens of empirical psychology and neuroscience, it is a mass migration of exhausted nervous systems. As we begin to deconstruct the biological mechanisms silently driving your subconscious swipe, you will realize the truth. The phone is no longer your tool. It has become a device that reconfigures your brain from the inside out. To understand why your fingers move before your conscious mind can intervene, we must dissect the reward system and sensory gating filters within your skull. Mechanism 1. Manipulating the dopamine system via variable rewards. Why does your brain crave turning on that screen when you know the chance of a new message is statistically near zero? The answer lies in the variable reward schedule, a classic discovery by psychologist B.F. Skinner. When a lab rat in a cage presses a lever and always receives food, it only presses when hungry. But if that lever is programmed to provide food only sometimes and purely at random, the rat goes into a frenzy. It will compulsively hammer the lever until it collapses from exhaustion. Your brain is that rat, and your phone is the lever. Every time you hit that button, your prefrontal cortex doesn't know if a reward is waiting, a new like, an email, a message from someone you love. This uncertainty stimulates the mesolimbic dopamine pathway, the brain's reward circuit, releasing dopamine not when the reward is received, but the very moment you press the button to check. Dopamine is the hormone of the hunt, not of satisfaction. Cinematic metaphor. Your brain is acting like a gambler standing in front of a slot machine. The phone is a mobile casino that fits in your pocket. You pull the lever unconsciously just to find the ding of a win, sacrificing your entire attentional battery to the tech house. Mechanism 2. Ghost vibration syndrome and amygdala hypervigilance. Have you ever sworn your phone just vibrated in your pocket only to find the screen completely blank? Medicine calls this ghost vibration syndrome. It is the clearest symptom of a state of hypervigilance caused by a nervous system overloaded with stimuli. When you live in a constant state of waiting for a notification, the amygdala, the brain's threat processing center, sets your central nervous system to high alert. It becomes hypersensitive to any mechanical change on your body. A slight friction of your fabric, a shift in your leg muscle, or a vague environmental noise is miscoded by your brain as a phone vibration. Your brain prefers a false positive, a false alarm, over missing a dopamine triggering stimulus. This biological confusion proves that your cognitive filter has been completely overtaken by the machine. Mechanism 3. The degradation of the executive control network. In a well-regulated brain, there is a balance between the default mode network, DMN, which wanders, and the executive control network, ECN, which governs will and focus. However, constant, unconscious phone checking erodes the ECN. When a gap in time appears, even 2 seconds at a red light, the ECN is too slow to activate and maintain your stillness. Instead, it is instantly subverted by automatic impulses from the basal ganglia, the storage site for repetitive robotic behaviors. You lose the ability to master your own attention. You become powerless before your own fingers. Through the lens of psychoanalysis, the aimless checking of one's phone is a highly sophisticated defense mechanism against anxiety, known as displacement activity. Sigmund Freud pointed out that when humans face vague internal threats, the ego displaces attention onto harmless physical acts to release pent-up energy. What is the vague threat here? It is the existential vacuum. When you stand alone in an elevator for 30 seconds without a phone, what happens? The mist of stimulation from the outside world briefly settles. That is when existential questions, buried insecurities, or unprocessed wounds rise to the surface. You are forced to confront yourself. You are forced to feel the solitude of your existence, and your brain is terrified of that. To save you from that painful confrontation, your ego immediately orders your hand. Take out the phone, turn on the screen, find anything, even a worthless advertisement. Just don't look at the emptiness inside. Visual metaphor. You are turning your phone into a digital pacifier. Much like a child who screams when separated from the breast, modern humans fall into existential panic when separated from the flow of screen-based stimulation. The phone isn't making you smarter. It's a low-dose sedative injected into your nervous system every 5 minutes to keep you asleep to your own life. The existential philosopher Blaise Pascal, back in the 17th century, provided a chillingly accurate diagnosis of this human ailment. All of humanity's problems stem from a single fact: their inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Pascal argued that humans constantly seek busyness, constant movement, what he called divertissement, distraction, to avoid facing their own finitude, their own emptiness, and their own mortality. The smartphone is the ultimate divertissement, Pascal predicted. You swipe not because you need information. You swipe so you don't have to look at the existential abyss right beneath your feet. You become a cognitive refugee, migrating from app to app, dissipating your life in meaningless swipes in exchange for a counterfeit peace of mind. If you are watching this video and realize that phone is in your hand, like an invisible pair of handcuffs, please don't drop it out of self-loathing or guilt. Do not judge your nervous system. Look at this truth with radical acceptance. Your brain is not weak. Your unconscious phone checking is a perfectly natural defensive effort of a biological body struggling to survive in an urban environment overloaded with stimulation and existential anxiety. It is only trying to protect you from loneliness. But you need to know this: emptiness is not a disease to be cured by swiping a screen. Silence is not your enemy. On the contrary, in existential philosophy, it is precisely in those empty moments without stimulation that your true identity has the chance to be born. It is time to reclaim your nervous system, turning the phone from a tyrannical master into a tool for mindfulness through 3 existential shifts. 1. Practice the 3-breath gating. The next time you are waiting for an elevator, in line, or whenever a gap appears and your biological radar commands your hand to your pocket, stop for a beat. You don't need to forbid yourself from checking. Allow yourself to check, but under one condition. Take 3 deep breaths before touching the device. During those 3 breaths, shift control from your automatic basal ganglia back to your executive control network, ECN, in the prefrontal cortex. Ask yourself one mindful question. Am I looking for something real? Or am I just afraid of 30 seconds of silence? This delay breaks the automatic dopamine loop, returning your conscious choice. 2. Tame the reward system with grayscale monotony. If your brain is a gambler seduced by the vibrant colors and red notification dots of the phone casino, strip the house of its weapons. Go to your settings and turn your entire phone display to grayscale. When the screen loses its vibrant color, the dopamine releasing effect of variable rewards diminishes significantly. Your brain, looking at a gray, dull screen, will automatically categorize it as a boring object unworthy of the chase. You will find the number of times you open the machine unconsciously drops dramatically within just one day. You aren't fighting technology with willpower, you are using biological laws to tame it. 3. Redefine the void as space for reflection. Learn to be comfortable and stand firm in the quiet moments of life. When you have to wait 10 minutes for a friend at a cafe, instead of pulling out the phone to play the busy human, choose to sit still, relax your shoulders, feel your feet pressing against the ground, observe the flow of people without judgment. Turn those 10 minutes from a burden of solitude into a gift of presence. When you dare to face the emptiness without a digital pacifier, you will realize a liberating truth. The existential abyss you've been fleeing contains no monsters. It is simply a quiet space where your soul can breathe, recover its attentional energy, and reconnect with original reality. You don't need to run from yourself. The smartphone is a great achievement of civilization. It can open a window to all of human knowledge. But don't let it become a wall separating you from the real life happening right in front of you. You have spent thousands of hours in your life swiping through the lives of strangers on a flat screen. It is time to turn off the illusion projector, put the phone away, hold your head high, and courageously embrace every clumsy, uncertain, but vibrant moment of reality today. Your life is not in the screen. It is here, right now. If you just caught your own fingers swiping unconsciously before hitting play on this video, leave an emoji or a comment sharing your experience below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can continue to decode the deepest dark sides of behavioral psychology and existential philosophy together. Thank you for dedicating your precious attention to me until these final seconds. Embrace your quiet moments and be profoundly gentle with your nervous system today. Take care, and I will see you in our next journey.